My name is Yuvaraj. Today I'm going to show you the demonstration for a Mozaik software. So let's start. This window is specifically a welcome window for a Mozaik software, where you'll find all the job details or your project details, like who is your customer, when it got last modified, who is the user. Exclusively, Mozaik Enterprise version will allow you to create a different users with the different rights. You can also change the different status for this project. You can add the status from settings tab here. And if you want to create a new project, you can just click on a new job and you can add the name of your job. Let's say Mozaik_demo with the date and okay. So once the project or once the job is created, you need to fill the information like who is your customer, what is the email address of your customer. It is not mandatory to fill all this information, but it is better to have this information because we are going to fetch this information into different reports later on. If you click on a settings tab, so settings tab will allow you to create the different type of principles which can offer to your customer. Okay, for example, so this is the already been created as a template file. If I just change the template file to JProfile, it's going to change the entire door styles, the drawer styles, the hardware, the material and everything, the different names. Room tab. Room tab will allow you to create a different shape of the room or different style of the rooms. If you go to the quick room tab, it will allow you to select the different shape of the rooms from the template file. If I just click on a wall tab, it will allow me to change the length of the wall. So I can just enter the value in millimeter. Then it asks me whether I want to increase the wall from the left hand side or from the right hand side, or equally from the both end. I just select on the right hand side. If I want to add the window, I'll just click on a window tab and select the window or add the window on the wall. The next tab is a product tab. So in a product tab, product tab help us to add the different products from the different catalogs. If I just drag down here, I can find multiple catalog which is installed on my system. Primarily the one which we are going to use for the demonstration today is a Mozaik cabinet, is a by default catalog of Mozaik software, which comes along with the package of the installation. If I want to add a base single door cabinet, I just go to the hierarchy or a folder and select the cabinet, drag it on the floor plan. So once it drag it on the floor plan, I also need to give the information or a clearance value from the left corner or from the right corner. So the left corner place would be a 50 millimeter, which get placed exactly 50 millimeter away from the wall here. I want to add another cabinet. So I'll just click on a one door cabinet and drag it on the floor plan. Once I drag it on the floor plan, the system asks me what type of pricing I want to offer to the customer. Like for example, when I set up this cabinet, I have 4 different prices levels. One would be a fixed bid price of this cabinet. The second would be a square meter of this cabinet. The third is a running meter of the cabinet. And the fourth is the feet cabinet or maybe the square feet cabinet. So you can select the price level or price group which you want to offer to the customer. I also would like to add another cabinet for the 2 doors. Again, the same question, which price level you want to select. Done. I also want to add a 3 drawers. So I'll just add a 3 drawers here. Again, 4 drawers here. If I just click on the 3 or 4 drawer, it will allow me to change the length of, or maybe the width of the drawer to 650. If I want to equalize the width, I just select both the cabinets by using the control key, right click and say equalize width. So it is 625 and 625. The remaining space what I'm having is 700 millimeter, whereas I want to use a custom cabinets, which is not there in my system now. I want to modify my cabinet now. So if I wish to modify, if I want to modify that, can just place the cabinet first, double click on it, or right click and say edit cabinet. Once you edit the cabinet, it goes to the product editor tab. In product editor tab, you can change what is the width of the cabinet, height of the cabinet, depth of the cabinet, and you will also able to add the information like what would be the minimum value and maximum value for this specific cabinet. I just click on a face tab because I want to modify that. So I just reset the face tab and split this into two different sections. In one section, I want to split it again with 3 equal drawers. When I click on the drawer tab, it will allow me to change the width of the drawer or height of the drawer. The width to 350 and the height would be also 350 millimeters. So the rest of will adjust automatically as per that. If I go to the interior tabs, see there is a partition which is already created as cabinet which we have placed. So just double click on the cabinet, it goes to the product editor tab. In product editor tab, you can find the information such as what is width of the cabinet, what is the height of the cabinet, what is the depth of the cabinet. You also can add the minimum width, height, depth, and maximum width, height, depth of the cabinet. So let's modify this cabinet. Go to the face tab. So it's only a one door entity. I want to reset this and split this into two different sections now. In one sections, I'll go to the multi and say I want to add the 3 drawers. And the system will automatically add the 3 drawers. If I click on the bottom drawer, I can change the height of the drawer to 250 millimeters. In interiors, it will allow me to add the shelves to the cabinet, the other section. For example, in the other section, I want to add the adjustable shelves. I'll just click on adjustable shelves. If you click on a shelf here, it will allow you to change the zone distance, or if you know the specific value of it, we can just go to the height tab and you can add that. Say it's 300 millimeter. So once it gets modified, you can find all the parameters, the modified parameters into the part sections. In hardware, you can find all the hardware which is required to build this specific cabinet. You'll also find the cutting list of this specific cabinet here in terms of what all the sizes, door sizes, box sizes, and everything. If you just say click on OK tab, it's not going to save. It's only going to use this specific order only or specific project only. If you say save, it means it's going to overwrite a name. If you say save as to, it means you're going to save this cabinet with a different name. I just click on OK because I want to use it exclusively for this specific order only. Let's go to the cabinet, pillar. So just go to the base pillar, 75 millimeter pillar, just drag it into the empty space. It will automatically get filled here. So you don't need to modify the pillar, just changing what is the length or where the pillar needs to be kept. Same thing for the wall pillar. And I click on the next tab, which is top. I'll go to the wall cabinets and just select the wall cabinet and put on the floor plan. As in the category of the specific cabinet is a wall, it automatically goes on specific height. I want to modify the width of the cabinet and position of the cabinet from the left corner. Add few more. So just go to the wall, one door cabinet and add it on the floor plan. Wall 2-door cabinet and add on the floor plan. You can change the width of the cabinet again, 1000 millimeters, and the clearance value is 0 because it is just achieved of this specific cabinet. I want to modify this cabinet by using the top shapes. So I'll just double click on it, go to the product area tab, click on the edit top and just add a few more points here. We also can formulate those points by using this calculator button. If you just go here, you can just add the formula, like whether the specific point is based on the width of the cabinet, height of the cabinet, or depth of the cabinet. You can just add that, and I'll just click on OK. So it's create a slot here, or maybe just for a beam or a column. And I want to add a few more cabinets here. So let's say 2 4-drawer cabinet, just modify that. Once the design is completed, what I'm going to do is I'll just go back to the room tab again, and I'll need to add sink here. So add sink on wall number 2, and just position that over here. If you go to the product tab again and select the sink which we have added, you also can give the offset value from the wall. Let's say -16 means the position of the sinks is from the wall is -60. At the same time, if you click on elevation view, you can get an elevation view of your room. In elevation view, I just want to add a few more pillars. So 750 millimeter, 750 millimeter, 750, not at the countertop. So I'll just click on the top. This is auto bring the top. This specific function will automatically bring the top as per your size and shape of your kitchen. If you click on order, you can find all the information about your order into the order tab, like what is the quantity, what is the image of it, width, height, depth, description of the cabinet, and the ID of the cabinet. ID is nothing but the region of the cabinet, basically. If you want to add something in the order specifically, you can just drag it in the order section, and you can change the quantity of that specific item to 3 or 4 or whichever, the number of times that you want to produce this specific item. But this item is not part of the order, still, and it's still got added. If you add in the pricing tab, when I click on the pricing tab, I can find there are 2 different tabs. One is order entry and one is the room one. So order entry means it shows only the information for the cabinets which we have manually added in the order section. And a room one, it means all the cabinets which we have added on the floor plan. You will get all the prices of those cabinets, if it is there, in materials, what are the consumption of the material, or which material I have to use, what are the edge bending I'm going to use, what are the hinges, slides, hardware, everything, you will get it here. In the report section, if you click on a contract tab, you can find the contract here with the total value of your kitchen. If you remember at the beginning of the demo, I explained why we need to have this information, because we are going to fetch that information in the different reports here. And you can modify those reports by your own. So let's see what is there in the cut list tab. If I click on a cut list tab shows me all information or all the parts, sizes in the cutting or in the finish. So by default, it's showing all the sizes are cutting sizes. But if I click on a display finish sizes tab, it will show me all the in finish tabs. So it is a 16 mil which don't have the edge bending. So you may have questions that from where this information is coming from, because we haven't select any of the material or edge bending here. So if I just click on a library and click on a material tab, you can add the different type of materials to here. 6 mil, 18 mil, 25 mil, or whichever you want, along with their sheet sizes, the raw sheet sizes, whether it has a grain or not. It's play a very important and major role when we are doing the actual optimization of the boards. So you can add the panel stocks or edge bending, and those edge bending and panel stock will be selected in the material template file here in the edge bending or in the door or drawer taste or the cabinet parts. If I click on optimize, which is a magic button in Mozaik, so I need to select on which machine I want to optimize it. So if I just go with the basic one, which is maybe the beam saw, the Mozaik vertical machines, if you just click on optimize tab, Mozaik will open another optimizer. In optimizer tab, you can select materials the job materials, or if you wish to change any of the material before we proceed to the optimization, you can do that. It's a very important function here, and the customer may ask this question several times, that what happens in case if we have some material already in the stock or as off-cut size. So Mozaik is also going to maintain that information if there is an off-cut. So if you have off-cut, like for 18 mil, I have selected the off-cut. So it means it's going to cut it the off-cut before it's used a new sheets. If you click on a part tab is help you to understand what are the parts need to be cut and what are the operations need to be performed on those parts, and what are the machines or which are the machines is going to perform the specific operations. So for example, if I click on a bottom panel of this one, so in bottom panel, if I click on operation tab, it shows me all the drills, all the holes, along with the grooves where it should be cutted. And there's very important functions. You also can flip the part, because this specific part, the bottom panel, having a machining from both the sides. You can export all this information into a different file formats. If you click on an optimize tab, you need to give in a specification or a specific spacing of the two parts. Like for example, 12 millimeters, and click on optimize. When it's a batch optimize, you also need to select which boards you want to optimize or which materials you want to optimize, and click on OK tab. So the first, Mozaik will export all the files which is required for the machines, and then it start optimizing the materials. If any of your part in the design is bigger than the size what you are using as a material size, then Mozaik shows you an warning message. So if you see here, so we have used the offcut for 4 offcuts here for 18 mil plywood. So that is the reason why it does not get cut at the actual sheets. First, offcut pricing tab, we can generate the different reports. Like for example, if you click on order entry or maybe the room 1, so the order entry is the cabinets which we have added separately, and the room 1 is all the information about what we have added in the room, what kind of material is being used, what is the quantity of those materials, what is the price of this material. Now you may have a question that from where this information is coming from, because we haven't added that into the design. So primarily these information gets stored into the library and the material section. So if you click on a material section, you can add the different type of the material along with width, length, what is the thickness of this material, and what is the price of this material, and what is the wastage of this material, whether this material has a grain or no grain, because this grain and no grain play a major role when we do the actual optimization of the parts. So you will get all the information about what are the edge banding, senseless hinges, the glides, the legs, and everything. If you just go to the reports and click on the contract report, and you can modify those reports as per your need, as per your requirement, and then it's get created exactly the information like who is the customer, what is the name of the customer, what is the email address of the customer, the mobile number of the customer. So if you remember at the beginning of the demo, we have added the customer information which is getting patched here into the reports. If you click on cut list, so cut list just primarily help you to understand the actual cutting sizes of your boards, of your parts. So here we have 2 options, either the list which is displayed here would be a finished list or would be a cut list. So this is information is depend on what kind of edge bending is used. So again, the question here is from where the edge bending is coming from. So again, if I go to the library and say material assignment, so it will also allow me to add the different type of edge bending, the different thickness of the edge bendings. Then you also can modify those by using the different materials. So 18 mil ply with the raw boards, with the plywood 8 mil, with the 16 mil for the drawer parts, and for which room you want to see the cutting list. Now to optimize this, I'll just click on Optimize tab, And then I need to select what kind of machines I'm having or what kind of machines I want to optimize for. So I just go with the Beamsaw or Wiki, which is from the Hummer, and I just click on Optimize tab. When you click on Optimize tab, the Mozaik will open another application called as a Mozaik Optimizer. So once you go to the Mozaik Optimizer and see what options is there available. So it goes to the Mozaik Optimizer where I can select what kind of materials are available with me in my stock. So I can change that. If you wish to change any of this material at any point of time, you can just click on change button and you can just change that material. So all the part which is getting manufactured on the 18 ply, convert it to the new material which you want to select. Not only that, but you also can select the remaining part, the leftover part, which is from the last order, which we have processed. So if you select for 18 mil, I want to use those parts. If you click on a part tab, you can find all information about your parts with the materials here, different materials, different parts, different information, different options. If you click on, let's say 18 mil ply, and if I just want to check the machining of one of the parts, so if I just click on bottom part of it, and then if I go to operations, I can find all the drillings for cam, dowel, and everything. All the glue information. You also can flip the part because this specific part is having both side machining. You can export all these information into the different report formats such as CSV, DXF, XML, RDs, lines, or any one of these, If you click on Optimize tab, you also need to select what is the spacing in between the two parts and click on Optimize tab. And here the parts that optimize. Here we can find the different parts like 18 mean. There in the pricing tab. When I click on the pricing tab, I can find there are two different options. One is order entry and one is room one. So order entry is nothing but the cabinets which we have added manually in the order section. And in the room one, it means the room items which we have added into actual Mozaik design. So you can find all the cabinets here along with the materials, the edge bending, the hardware, and everything which is there in the order or which has been used in the order. If you click on a contract tab and click on a contract, it's also show you the total of your kitchen. If you remember at the beginning of the demo, I explained why we need to feed the information for the customer because we are going to fetch that into the contracts and the different reports. Those reports can be modified by the users. So you can modify your own reports with your own standard, your company template, like logo, names, terms and conditions, GST certificate, and everything. If I click on a cut list tab, it shows me all the parts need to be cutted and need to be in the finished sizes as per the material which we have selected. So if I just click on an 18 mil, I can find all the 18 mil plywood. So now you may have a question from where this information is coming from because we have not selected any of the material when we are designing. But these information primarily selected into the settings tab in material section, or if you go to the library and say material, this is the place or this is the option where we want to create a new materials for the sections. If I go to the edge banding, so edge banding also been created here, panel is also been created here, or material has been created here. If you go to the library and say material template is the option where we are going to assign the material for each and every part along with the aging sequence. Once this is done, we click on again, go back to the cut list part and click on Optimize tab. So this is a magic button. When you click on Optimize tab, you need to select on which machine you want to produce those parts. So I'm using a beam saw with the mug, but we also have machines like a Jai, Fender, or SCM, Mobility, or the local one, we can add that. We can create the PPS for that. And many of them we already have typed with them. So the moment you hit the optimizer button, it's go to another application where you can find all the information about your machines, your machine template files and everything. So this is a window for a Mozaik optimizer. Here I can find all the job parts, the materials and everything. If I just click on a material tab or a select from library tab, it's going to allow me to select the leftover material part before I process this order. So it means it's basically an off-cut orders. If I click on a part tab, it shows me all the parts need to be cut at the different section of the materials, like MDF, like 16 mil plywood. So it shows all the parts which is being cut on the 16 mil plywood, 18 mil ply. If you just double click on any of these parts, like for example, in the bottom part, in that case, if I just go to the operation tab, I can find all the drillings and gluing information here on the operation tab. So this specific window is a similar window which you can find on the CNC UI of your machine. And you can modify the operations from here if you wish to. You can export all this information into the different reports such as CSV, DXF, or RDs, or any of these, If you go to the library and if you go to the machine tab, we can create a new machines from this specific tab. It will allow you to create a new machines by using different PPS. You just need to select what kind of or what type of machines you want to create, because the machine operations is depend on the type of the machines which you want to create. And we have, as mentioned, we have created a multiple PPS for those machines. So you can get the desired output in direct format, which can be consumed directly on the machine. If I click on Optimize tab, I need to add what is the spark spacing. It's 12 millimeter, and I click on Optimize tab. So Mozaik will ask you which specific material you want to optimize. I say I want to optimize all the materials and click on OK tab. So the moment you hit the OK tab, the first Mozaik will export all the machine files, and then it start optimizing the materials. So once the material is optimized, once the part of optimized, you can find it into the pattern sections. So on the left-hand side, you can find the materials, and the right-hand side, pattern of those materials. If you click on 16 mil, for example, in pattern number 2, I can find it's not been consumed 100%. You can just click on this part, say save this part as a remake library, and I can add my own comments like use this for next order and say save it. So whenever I process a new order next time, this specific part will be available for a selection in the material. I also want to export all the information into the CSV format because I'm using a beam saw. So I just select all the material and say export file. If I click to Optimize tab again and say view files, you can find the 16 mil file here along with all the information about my parts, about my edging and everything. So part type, part name, quantity, length, material, thickness, whether it has a grain or not, it's very important. Then edge bending sequence, what is the G-code file name, and everything, all the information about the materials here with 16 mil, 18 mil and everything. Not only that, but since we have used 2 different machines to produce this, I can find also all the machine files on the second machine file format path here. These are the machine file basically. If I click on a label tab, and if I want to generate a label for the specific parts, I just select on that part and say view label. And the Mozaik will generate a label for you. This is specifically a nesting label, or maybe the different type of the labels that you can customize by your own. You can add the barcode, or you can add the QR code on the label parts. So when you generate the label, it shows the QR code or the barcode. So there are multiple label settings, or there are label template files which are already available in the Mozaik, which you can use, and you can generate your labels. If you click on the summary tab is primarily summarize all the materials which has been used in the optimizer patterns. So for example, if I use 16 mil, I can find there are 2 boards which need to be used, and the consumption of this two board is at 86.02% and 8.2%. If you change it to the raw MDF, for example, it's going to use 3 different boards and 11 parts to be cutted in the first board, 12 parts need to be cutted on the second board, and 9 parts to be cutted in the third board. And these are the consumption of the boards. You also can generate the job data information from the Mozaik. So if you just go to the files, print, and print job data, you can select here what information you want to print with the job data. Like for example, all the sizes, all the cutting sizes, finish sizes with the material summary, hardware list, and everything. I just go with the print preview this time. It's okay. So as per the printer which we have selected, or as per the template file what we have selected, Mozaik will collect all the information and print it into one format. So as output file format, you will get all your nesting labels, you will get all your MPR files or machine CNC files, let's say, all the cutting sizes, all the finish sizes, you will get your optimized patterns, all the information which are required for the machining, you will get it from Mozaik. We can export all the information, all the patterns and job data into PDF file format. To do that, you can just go to the patterns and say print all the information into the PDF files. So once it gets printed, I'll show you the PDF. And if we can just go to files, job, and job print, you can print all information of your jobs into the PDF format. And you can change the different type of template file from here, the way how you want to visualize it. So let me show you the output file, the job print file, and the optimized pattern in the PDF file format. So this one is a job print file format. Thanking you for watching this video. If you have any query, please contact us on the contact us page. Thank you. Thank you very much.